Dharma. Dharma. Chant. Sarvamangalam Gurudevaya Devye Matriksha Mangalam Mangalam Bhakta Brindebhyo Sarvalokaya Mangalam Om Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Sarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Mangalam Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankarachara Majamam Ashmarachara Prayantam Vande Gurum Paramparam Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahman Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Jai Ma. So continuing our many year-long discussion, it seems, on Introduction to Kali Puja, volume something, 30 or something, getting high. And so last week we canceled due to something came up. So 2 weeks ago we talked about
Manasa Puja.
Correct, Manasa Puja, the mental worship or the internal worship of the goddess. And we were talking about that the process, as per the Tantra Shastras, is that first, after everything is purified and all the deities are worshipped and put in their place, and directional deities, and everything's ready and internally, and the main part of that all leads up to Bhuta Shuddhi, internal purification. Then installation, the Swashakti Nyasa, where the Pranapatisthana in oneself, the deity is first installed in the heart, and a body is created for her using the letters of the alphabet, Nyasa, Anganyasa, Karanyasa, Matrikanyasa, like that. Then the deities, the various, the Panchadevata and other deities are worshipped. And finally, the Pitta, we call it Pittanyasa, where Pitta Shakti, today we may go over through the same list again, I'm not sure. All the deities, the deities of the altar. And the altar is, the idea that we're invoking the cosmic altar where Ma sits, as described in the scriptures, surrounded by devas and pillared halls and special trees or cremation grounds in this particular case. What type of throne she sits on? That's invoked first within the heart. Right, and then again, nyasa, a nyasa of her bij mantra is done. For this particular case, Kali's bij mantra here is kring, like the kriya bija, with the syllables kram, krim, krum, kraim, kram, kra. Right, the way of separating the kring sound into its various vowels, which are the expressions of the mantra, invoked onto the fingers of the hands and the limbs of the body, karanyasa, anganyasa, and then. I think that's the order we've been going through. Let me double check because we're just talking here, right? Yes, Anganyasa. And then finally, we spent maybe 3 weeks talking about her Dhyan mantra, describing the form of meditation given to us in the scriptures, the form, here specifically Dakshina Kali, this form of Kali. According to the deity worshipped, that there's a mantra or a set of mantras, Dhyan mantras that are recited to invoke, visualize, sonically invoke, and to give the mind the content to visualize what the sages saw, what the sages passed down. And we do that holding a flower in Kurma Mudra. Like we've talked about this already, so I won't go through it. And we chant the mantra, visualizing appropriately. Then, what we talked about last week, we do it all in 1 week last time? We did pretty good. That's incredible. We did everything. We did more than one page in 1 week. We put the flower on our head, and then the whole puja that we do externally in the puja is done internally, right? And so we mentioned last week that this could be done different. One way is just visualizing doing it, right? Just like like we offer incense, in your mind offer incense, in your mind offer light, like that. That could be that simple. That's one type of Manasa Puja. Another is to imagine it in, what's going on in the heavenly realms, where, just a few days ago was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Gaur Purnima, the Holi. And so it was reminding me of a very beautiful song composed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a famous saint in the tradition, called Gaur Arati. Right, and if we were to understand, it could have just been composed to be a beautiful thing, but we believe, and I think that's what the claim is, that it was from a vision that he saw. Right, well, there may be a statue of Chaitanya, like a wooden statue doing this or this like that, and they're doing little brahmachari waving incense, like in all the temples, right? But he saw in a vision, we believe he saw what was really happening. Right, he saw that Narada Muni is playing on his veena. Shiva and Brahma are fanning him with fans, right? Well, all the gods are singing. We're very beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful description, right? Where it may just be a brahmachari waving incense, but what's really happening is what's like. So part of the visualization could be that visualize, in Vrindavan or in. For us, work would be Devi Loka or Cremation Ground. I'm not quite sure which one. It's dangerous, right? In Mani Dweep or in the center of the yantra, the goddess is sitting on a throne, or the Panchadevatas, being fanned by Lakshmi and Saraswati. There's descriptions like you can see the puja, like what's really happening. Who's worshiping the gods? Brahma himself is the pujari, right? Vishnu is playing the music. I mean, it can be that type. That's one type of meditation. Right, the one that we spend more time describing is very tantric and yogic in its interpretation, where all the aspects of puja, here are the 16 primary aspects. It's more than 16 items, but the primary 16 items of worship are done using the tattvas. We say first visualizing. We mentioned I'm going to go through the whole thing, but visualizing the ocean of nectar. Within the ocean of nectar, there's a island of precious jewels, wish-fulfilling jewels. In the island of precious jewels, there's a wish-fulfilling tree. Underneath that tree, you see the Divine Mother, the form you're worshiping, seated upon the lotus. The lotus her seat is the lotus of the heart. So that's already a big deal right there. If you can get to that, you're halfway there. Puja's over, distribute prasadam. Everybody gets full blessing. If you can do that, you're doing good, right? But then what do? Then we do the 16 items. So you offer a seat, the heart. You offer water for washing the feet. She's giving the thing. It's that's water dripping from the 1,000 petals. Now, of course, that's a little presumptuous to think we have nectar dripping from the 1,000 petals. But if we did the Bhuta Shuddhi properly, we have water dripping from the 1,000 petals, right? Right, from the moon. The moon has infused the liquid of the moon. The Amrita from the moon has infused all the chakras. So that water is used for wash your feet. The mind is given as arghya, for water for rinsing her mouth, for bathing her is also that same water, the nectar from the 1,000 petal lotus. Then, what are the other ones? Earth. Earth is given as flower. Scent. Yeah. So earth is the earth element. The Prithvi Tattva is given as fragrance. The mind is given as flower. I think, right? I do it, but I very rarely speak. It's only like the 5th time ever that I've spoken it. Probably to you once. I'm not giving you a class on puja. You don't speak these things. The pranas are offered as incense. The tejas tattvam, the principle, the element of light, is offered as lamp. Right. The ocean of nectar is offered as drink. The mind, the intellect, is offered as food. Right. Then the umbrella, the 1,000 petal lotus, is offered as umbrella. Right, the sound element is offered as song. The Om is offered as bell. Right, then the dance performance. Go for it. The restless nature of the mind is her dance performance. You're a dancer, and you have a restless mind. It's perfect. I only have a restless mind. I don't know how to dance. You have way things going for me, but I can offer her my restless mind. You can offer actual dance, right? This is the thing. But what a beautiful thing is that what's her dance for? Her entertainment. She's entertained by watching us try to concentrate. It's not the least bit entertaining for me when I'm trying to concentrate and not really. But at least we know we provide some entertainment for our mother. So this is good. My restless mind is offered as dance, right? So like that, we described all these type of things. And then we went a little more into like goat sacrifice and buffalo sacrifice is lust and anger, right? Then japa is done. I think is how we end. The japa is done. The rosary strung on kundalini, with the beads of the letters of the alphabet in the chakras. We kind of describe that. So that's cool. Now what do? We left it there. Right? Right. So in some puja books, I'll tell you, there's one. This is a line from the Shakta Nanda Tarangini Tantra. I didn't get that right, but Shakta Nanda Tarangini Tantra. It says, after seeing the Ishtadevata in one's own heart, one should establish her in the image, picture, vessel, or yantra, and then worship her. O Parameshwari, Shiva speaking, talking to Devi, in the worship of the Devata, one should think of the particular ornaments and carriers. This is getting too far. After seeing the Ishtadevata in one's heart, one should establish her in the image, picture, vessel, or yantra, and then worship her. That's the classic line. Equivalent lines are found in the tantras. So after we Dhyan mantra, after seeing her and worshiping in the heart, then we establish her in image, picture, vessel, yantra. These are the ways. So of course we have an image. Here this is the Murti, Archana Vigraha, worshipable deity. Many things are prepared to make an image to be worshipped. The form has to be correct. It has to be carved in correspondence to the Dhyan mantra, right? It should also be beautiful. It's another thing. There's actually there are three things that make a deity living according to Sri Ramakrishna. Anybody know? Do you know? Three things. The beauty of the image, right? The devotion of the sponsor, right? The person who's sponsoring the temple or the puja, right? And the purity of the priest. Hopefully I got those right. Something like that. Accuracy, like these things go together. This is why it said that Dakshineshwar is why the deity to come alive. A beautiful image. Some of the most beautiful Kalis. There's 10,000 Kalis in Calcutta. There's no Kali like Dakshineshwar Kali, tell you frankly, right? There's many beautiful ones, but there's still no Kali like Dakshineshwar Kali. Just by the beauty of her. Just like there's many Kalis. I mean, this is unique Kali. We're also very lucky. We have a beautiful Kali, right? Then you have the sponsor, Rani Rasmani. So much devotion, right? And what's a pujari like Sri Ramakrishna and his family? This is not a normal pujari. And therefore, the statement is the goddess would be awakened quickly, right? This is the view. The ceremonies were done to awaken her at the date of the Pranapatisthana. But the statement was that, the god will be awakened soon, means these three things are coming together. It should become more and more living, more and more powerful, more and more. So the deity has to be beautiful. It has to be according to the scripture. It shouldn't be whimsical by somebody's imagination, right? It should also be made out of proper materials. The material being used is also important, right? And the scripture has mentioned that when you put prana, we'll talk about how to do that as we go this week and maybe next week. When you awaken, you install the deity, the energy, the life of the breath of the deity in the image. It has to hold it, right? And so different type of elements will hold the prana different lengths of time. Like for instance, out of clay or paper mache, that type of thing, right? It says about 10 days, the prana, right? And what you do, like when we do, what's the deities we do like that? We'd make a Ganesh out of Ganga mud for Ganesh Chaturthi, right? You install, and 10 days later you put in the Ganga, right? It's not meant to be permanently worshipped. It's meant to hold the energy, the prana. You don't have to every day install. You install at the beginning of the ceremony. At the end, you withdraw the energy, you put it in the Ganga. Or Durga Puja, they make an image out of clay and paper mache and these type of stuff, right? They install her, they worship her greatly. In 3-4 days, they put her in the Ganga, right? It's not permanently worshipped, right? Stone, I forget, I have it in my notes. I don't remember it offhand. I remember some of them, right? If it's out of stone, it has, let's say, I'm now making up numbers just to give an example, like 100 years, right? So an image that's been installed 100, the prana will last 100 years. This is without any other ceremonies, right? Or made out of crystal, 300 years. This is why crystal Sri Yantra or crystal Shiva Lingam or crystal Ganesha, if it's installed, it holds the prana without any puja, without anything. You don't have to do anything to keep it going, right? a water pot also, water has a certain amount of time, a yantra has a certain amount of time. So there's different things. So anyway, so the image has to be made out of the substance that will hold it. But even then there's elaborate, especially for a temple puja, there's elaborate ceremonies that are done to purify the elements of the deity. And just like the things we're doing internally during the puja, these are done externally to the image the first time the image is worshipped. So there's in an image, a picture. Now the thing in the picture, what's the beauty? The picture has to be beautiful. That's the only thing. That's very Mahasamayan, It's like, because really in an image, the picture is not holding energy, right? It's holding your attention, right? It's beautiful that every time and of course we say, oh, this picture was worshipped by Sri Ramakrishna. Oh, this is, it's still holding attention, after all these years, but it's been touched by him, so the elements become pure, of course. But the picture is another thing. Then the other thing is a yantra, which we've discussed a little bit, and we'll maybe talk more as we get into it. And the other is a vessel. Vessel means the kalasham, the ghat. In Bengal they call it ghat, Devi ghat, right? The rest of India often kalash, they call it the water pot. And the worship of the water pot, I think we didn't talk about the beginning, the worship of the pot. I didn't prepare to talk about the worship of the water pot, but the worship of the water pot in a Devi, it's like for Shiva, Shiva is worshipped through a Shiva lingam, right? So without a Shiva lingam, there's no real meaning to worship of Shiva. We have beautiful Shiva murtis, right? We have a beautiful dancing Shiva. You see our new dancing Shiva? Okay, we have a new dancing Shiva. How beautiful, right? But the puja to Shiva has to be done through Shiva lingam. So it says the image is for our how beautiful, right? It's for the mind's enjoyment and for relationship. But the puja is done. It has no meaning except through the Shiva. That's what the scripture says, right? You can say, no, I worship my statue. That's your devotion, right? But the scripture says Shiva. So similarly, the Devi, her worship is done through the water pot, through the ghat, right? So I remember when Ma first was installed. Some history of Kali Mandir. We don't have to go too much into the history of Kali Mandir, but there was the original water pot that was installed was taken away by devotees. I won't go into the history. We won't go into the history, right? Right. But anyways, the point is, so we figured, okay, it was a not to create conflict. We accepted and we kept like this. But we didn't realize, because we think, oh, the image is beautiful and been installed. The priest came from Dakshineshwar installed. But they're like, oh, no, you need a ghat. Right? So actually, in a certain sense, that's why we had a second big puja. Right? The priest had to come back to reinstall the ghat. We were worshipping Ma all this time. We believe she was living like that. But still, you can't worship Ma without a ghat. Right? We were worshipping beautiful image like that, but still, it's not proper. Right? And so they came back. And so we had another big festival, right? It's established a new ghat. So this is Ma's second ghat, right? And by that time, it's like, okay, it's next year, come back. And it kept 17 years, they came, And so, and the ghat also has a certain, the water holds for a certain amount of time. We generally, it's changed. It can be changed once a month. Every couple of weeks, like that, according to the tradition, We for many years we changed it every Amavasya. Dakshineshwar has changed every Amavasya. Here we change the water in the water pot, and reinstall the ghat every during the big Kali Puja, Shama Kali Puja, Valaharni Kali Puja, Vartanti Kali Puja. Generally we hold like that, right? So the water, and so the ghat itself is very interesting. It's a very ancient image. It's older than, I haven't recently done research on this, from the scholarship of 20 years ago when I was doing research on these type of things, where it was considered one of the most ancient forms of worshipped images in India, which is one of the most ancient goddess traditions, unbroken goddess traditions. So it's a very ancient, it goes back way before images, way back, even it could be, if some of the scholarship is still relevant, and accurate, before even the fire worship was done. Fire goes back, of course, early Vedic times, right? But this is even earlier than Vedic times, perhaps, right? There's references of worshiping pots of water, invoking, especially the goddess in the worship. Now, in any temple, a lot of temples and special pujas, you do Satyanarayana puja, you establish a water pot, you establish Swaminarayan. If you do Ganesh puja, a water pot, you establish Ganesha, right? So it's the water pot anybody can be established in the water pot.
but especially for Devi, this is her original image, and the image is that of Devi. In a simple pot, it becomes like we have. Well, not we don't the wrong one. We moved it. It's just like the womb of the universe, right? That's one way. It has several meanings. One is that the womb of the universe, right? The container of the universe, which is Ma's womb, holds everything in it, right? And it's also this body, right? So it's Ma's body and the universal body and our body, right? And in Bengal, especially in this form, this more very stylized form, right? It's literally like the womb and the uterus. It's like directly the whole apparatus of the feminine system, right? Right. So it's definitely her. It's given that, not just like given a type of symbolism. It's that symbol for sure, right? And so it's also our astral body. And in Bengal, especially, they cover it with red, with kumkum mixed with ghee. We do it every month. On Amavasya, or the day before Amavasya, we coat it with red lit, and that's blood. That's the blood, and it's Ma's blood, the menstrual blood, it's the sacrificial blood, it's the Devi, all the symbols of the Devi and prana, right? And then you also see there's a coconut, and we use a green coconut with the stem still attached. Now, if you do a home puja, people bring a coconut, you put the coconut there, you do the best you can, right? But it should be the green coconut with the stem, right? And usually 5 mango leaves, 5 or more mango leaves, right? And so the meaning of that is this is also like it's our body, it's Ma's body, the universe, and our body. So in Ma's body in the universe, you have the womb of the universe and the 5 elements. These are the 5. In our body, it's the 5 senses, right? The 5 leaves, right? And then the coconut is our head, and that little thing that comes up is the sika, right? That the shika of that's considered the very top. The top of the body is here. In case you're wondering, not here, where the bindu chakra is, where the sika is tied. That's what that's sticking straight up, right? So this is very important. So, and actually, the reason I'm mentioning this because the way we're going to do this, it says first the deity should be in the heart, and then should be established in the deity, in the image, water, like that. But although in daily puja we're worshiping Ma, but we're not actually reinstalling Ma. Right, so we're putting our mind there. We're actually reinstalling the God every day here in our puja, right? If you don't have a God, you have a deity, you'd reinstall the deity every day, right? But we're not reinstall. She's there. But what are you installing? You're actually giving new life, you're putting your attention there for sure. But something's happening also, right? We'll talk about that also, right? But we've established the God, but there's all these mantras for establishing the water pot. We don't have to do those every day. We do them once a month here. But we still do have to do it every day. So we do it through the medium of the conch. Right? So that next to, we have the water pot, and we have the koshkushi. We've done the installation of the water of the koshkushi. Arghya-sthāpana, viśeṣa-arghya-sthāpana. We've established once a month or a regular thing, the ghat. And we're also now, for daily, once a year or once every 300 years, the deity is installed, right? Right, and then the murti, but every day the water pot, the conch is installed. So the conch is also the same as the kalasham, right? It's considered a mini kalasham in a certain sense, right? And just like the kalasha is the symbol of the womb and the uterus, like that, the conch is that too. The conch is the yoni. It has that symbolism, the feminine symbol, right? And so that's also, so when you establish the conch, you're establishing the God, you're establishing the body of the goddess, you're establishing the universe, and you're establishing our body, right? So the whole thing, so it's interesting how it works, I think. So let's see how it works. The Manasa Puja. So where we left off, we established you meditate on the deity in the heart, you put the flower on the forehead, on the top of the head, do the internal worship, and then you take that same flower in the simple form, then gets placed, Jaima, gets placed. So what do we do? If you're close to the deity, that flower, you can just offer that at the feet of the deity. And in one sense, you're already transferring the Shakti, right? By doing that, and just then offering that flower that's been here is the whole thing, and then it's offered at the feet of the deity. Or if you're near the deity, we put it on the deity. it's a little far for us to reach, so we put it on the head of the ghat usually, right? Is kind of because another important thing is the ghat. Another point, the ghat and the deity are not different, and the ghat also sits on a yantra, which is also not different, right? And it represents the universe, represents the supreme goddess, and it represents the body, right? So that's an important point. Like there's continuous connection between the body of the goddess, her form, the cosmic body of the goddess as the world, right, and the statue of Ma, right? So continuously, your yantra, your body, the ghat, the image, the cosmic deity, continuously, everything is being. So at a certain point, when these are all identified, right? If you put a flower here, you put a flower at Ma's feet, it's the same thing. If you put it on the yantra, like you can't reach the deity, you put it on the ghat. Same thing. The ghat and the deity are the same, right? That's the thing, right? And it says, like, the worship of the deity in a temple is done to the ghat, right? But we all see, oh, Ma looks like she's smiling. Puja's going well. She looks alive, right? You know, how beautiful she looks, right? Because they're not different, right? Like, so the deity can be seen as like the face of the deity. The murti can be seen as the face of the Ma. And so if I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, like, oh, you know, it's like, I'm so happy to see you. How are you doing? Are you okay? You know, I'm looking at your face, right? But actually I'm talking to your heart, right? But I don't know how to, I can't, if I cut you open, look at your heart, there's a big problem, right? I can look at your face. Your eyes would be the window like this, right? So the deity is like the face, what you can see for the beauty of Ma, the reaction, the humans like that. But the puja is not done to her face, right? It's done to her soul, right? Or with her, just like from our soul. It's not face to, we say face to face, communicate face to face. Heart to heart's better than face to face, I think, right? Right, so our heart and Mars, my heart, you know, it's hard for us to pull. In Indiana Jones, you can pull out the still beating heart of some Shaivite and offer it to Ma, you know. You know, like, right? But actually, Ma we have her heart external. We can worship it directly and very carefully, right? So it's very interesting how that dynamic. So we offer this flower to Ma. So now we establish, we'll do the whole thing, just like we did that internal meditation and the Dhyan Mantra internal meditation, Nyasa. Now we've done this internally. We've prepared our body. We worship the deities within the altar, the deities of the altar within our heart. We visualized Ma in our heart. We've created her body through Nyasa, Anga Nyasa, Kara Nyasa, through the Nyasa of the hands and the Nyasa of the body, right? Now we've done it internally, we have to do it externally. So we do it to the deity, and we do it through a medium of the conch, right? That's the in between, through the medium of water, right? So all the things, in a certain sense, we've done to ourselves, all the things that we're going to do to the deity, we're going to also do to the ghat, to the conch, right? The viśeṣa-arghya-sthāpana, the establishment of the deity, special here it translates as deity of the deity in the conch. Right, so we start just like we've done this a long time ago. We probably don't remember when we establish like Achaman, Patra, and the Koshkushi like that. You space. You take the water from the Koshkushi and your ring finger, and you draw a yantra, that Shakti, triangle, circle, and square. We've talked about that. Now I won't go into full details of what each symbol represents, but that square, that circle, and that triangle is within our own body. The square is Muladhara chakra, right? And the triangle is the pit where Kundalini is. So actually, when you worship it here, you're actually worshiping deep within. But now you're doing it. We've done it deep within. Now we're going to do it seemingly outside, but also deep within, right? So we move where the conch is going to be. You draw a circle, square, and then you offer. When you offer, you think, oh, there is where these Shaktis are, but it's also deep within where these Shaktis are. Om et ganna pushpe, Om Hrim Adhara Shaktyari Bhyo Namaha. We've done these mantras already. We worship with this fragrant flower, we worship the Shaktis, Adi Shaktyari Bhyo, beginning with Adhara Shakti. We worship the Shaktis beginning with Adhara Shakti. Adhara Shakti means sustaining, holding Shakti. That makes sense. This is that Muladhara, the thing that holds up the sustaining. So this is when you're establishing the base of something, the Shaktis are the Shaktis that uphold. But the Shaktis that uphold in our body are Kundalini. She's what's holding our body up. We have Muladhara chakra where we sit. That's our, this is not a nothing. Underneath, in Kundalini, we visualize it as Muladhara. Underneath it, Kundalini. The material world is just a speck of dust, right, floating on the cosmic ocean of cosmic Shakti. So it's that it's like when you see a leaf floating on an ocean. What's sustaining the leaf? The ocean, right? So the power we're worshiping it's not like, there's a little power holding this big thing up. It's this tiny little thing being held up by infinite power, right? The whole cosmic ocean of consciousness is holding it up. That's the Arhara Shakti. Om Hrim Arhara Shakti-adibhyo Namaha. Then we start. Hear me, the conch? You pour the water out. It's better if I have the conch. It's hard to describe. Mm-hmm.
What kind of water do you use? I mean, Ganga water.
Ganga water is ideal.
But what,
We use filtered water, just a clean water. Thank you. And you get the stand also. Thank you, dear. I don't know if this is on the camera, probably. So the way of establishing the conscious can be done in different ways. Even the Ramakrishna Mission book had a particular way of doing it, which we did it. We took it from then. Then I began to notice when I'd be in South India, and I was stuck in South India. I guess I was due to a karmic crash, and I got to watch every day the puja at the Chennai center, at the sub center at Tinagar. And it was beautiful. They have a very simple puja, but very clean, clear, and I love puja, so we're watching. And I noticed that this part was different. Right? Well, he was doing it slightly different than the way we had done it in our book, the way we had learned it. Right? And then I learned, but it made sense to me. The steps made sense, Then I learned that in some of the books it has been changed, right? And that has to do with the 2 forms or 3 forms of the Ramakrishna Mission's puja. One came out of the tantric tradition of Bengal, and through I think Swami Shivananda's father was a tantric. They formed most of the puja, and then also Swami Ramakrishnananda, who went to South India, was also from a Pujari tantric family. Right, and he kind of established his own version of the Ramakrishna. 98% the same, but this is one of the points, and I liked it. It made sense, and some of the newer versions have that, so I've corrected it. They're not corrected; I've adjusted it. So this is the form I'm giving. If there's somebody has a book that may be slightly different, the same basic principles are there, right? So we move the thing, we draw the yantra and offer flow, Hrim Arhara Shakti-adibhyo Namaha, right, and then we're going to put the conch. We're going to sprinkle the stand to purify it, right, and place it on the yantra, right. You sprinkle it astraya pat, which is this weapon mantra, and place it with the mantra Om, and then we're going to worship. Now each step, a conch filled with water on a stand had 3 things: the stand, the conch, and water, right. So these are the 3 things: water, a conch filled with water on a stand. So first we're going to do it. So each one of these is going to be given a different cosmic meaning, tantric meaning, right? And so in our body, if we want to awaken Shakti, we have what's in our body that awakens Shakti, right? We have our subtle nervous system, we have the Ida, we have our primary nadis, and the 3 primary nadis, Ida, Pingala, and Shushumna, right? This means sun, moon, and fire. Right. So each one of these is going to be given, assigned, sun, moon, and fire. Right. So first is going to be given, the conch is going to be given the meaning of fire. Actually, makes sense. So anyway, so we'll offer a flower. Etaganda pushpe om mam vanni mandalaya dasha kalatmane namaha. We worship the 10 divisions of fire. Now, these numbers are important. There's 10 divisions of fire and 12 divisions of water. No, sun, moon, I'm getting this wrong. Right? Fire, sun, then the sun. 12 divisions of sun and 16 divisions of moon. Now, usually we think in the normal Kundalini system, we have sun and moon and fire. That's the Kundalini. But actually, this is a little different. Actually, we have sun and fire, and moon is the goal, because we're trying to invoke Amrita, right? And Amrita is from the moon. So actually, Amrita is superior to sun and fire. Actually, in this particular thing, actually, sun and fire are both masculine. Moon is feminine. Amrita is feminine. This is the real nectar. So it's using the same three principles, but redesigning them. So the center actually is not fire. Usually we have sun, moon, and fire is the raised Kundalini. This is different, right? Let's see what are the elements of fire here. I'll tell you what these. We actually said Om Mam Vande Mandalaya Dashaka. We worship the 10 aspects, the 10 colors, the 10 divisions, digits, aspects. I don't know how to define colors. There's no simple Western concept, but all those things combined, aspects of segments, aspects, digits. I don't know, ratios. I don't know what the word is of fire. So we can. What are they specifically? Dumra chire, she say, which I won't say them in Sanskrit. Smoke, heat, glow, flame, issuing sparks, blessing, beautiful, yellow, and consuming. These are considered different aspects of fire. If you think of fire, there's almost bhavas of fire. Fire does these different things. It's beautiful, it's yellow, it's consuming, it's smoky. It's it's some way to describe it, right? And Dumra. Ushmaye, Jwalanye, Vishpulinganye, Sushriye, like that, these different mantras. And we use them when we're doing the Sri Chakra Puja. These are individually worshipped. Here they're worshipped together, right? Vandi Mandala Dashakalatmane Nama. We worship the 10 divisions of fire. That means in the stand, this is now not the stand, this is fire, right? That's the central thing, right? Then we purify the conch, the next step, right? Om Astrayapat, Om, right? And then you worship the conch. Worship the conch. Etaganda Pushpe, Om Arka Mandalaya Dwadasha Kalatmane Namaha. With this fragrant flower, we worship the 12 divisions of the sun. Now, of course, 12 is the number of the sun. Every different, like the number of Devi is 9. There's numbers associated with different forms of the deity, of different deities. The sun always is 12. Like a 12-faced Rudraksha is the Aditya, the solar Rudraksha being like that. There's a common thing. We have the 12 months. We have the 12 signs, like that. But so these are interesting. This is not the 12 signs of the sun or the 12 months of the sun, but all signs and months are dealing with the pattern of the sun. The sun patterns are 10. Let's see what the 12 patterns of the sun. Let's see what they are here. The sun is very fiery, so it's very heating. So Tapini, Dumra, Marichi, Jwalini, Ruchi, Sushumni, like this. I'll describe. Hot, that makes sense. Fire is something. Burning hot. There's hot days and burning hot days, right? Smoky, rays, fiercely glowing, bright, lighting, giving enjoyment, cosmic, awakening, remembering, and forgiving. These are different. These are a little bit, some of these are like a little bit given some poetic meaning, the bhava behind these aspects. So these are the 12 aspects of the sun, right? So, Etaganda Pushpe, the different beej mantras also. Arka Mandalaya, Dwarashkalatmane Namaha. The 12, the mandala of the 12. So actually it's a mandala. That's another point, right? So this is actually, almost like the circle of the sun has these 12 rays, right? The circle of the fire has 10 rays. The moon is said to have 16 rays. That's the next one, right? So now we fill the conch with water, right? And sometimes we chant the beej mantra, the deity's beej mantra, like Kring, one time as you fill it, or 3 times, or 5 times. Different texts will say different things. So exactly what that means when you're installing water, you're not installing water, you're installing mantra. You're identifying the mantra, the water, with the deity, right? Then you offer another flower. Now we've worshipped fire in the stand. We worshipped the sun in the conch. Now we're going to worship what? Moon in the water, right? Etaganda pushpe om, the bij mantra for the moon here. Soma mandalaya, the mandala, or the circle of this moon, with shodasha kalatmane namaha, with its 16 kalas. Now you can see when you do in Sri Yantra Puja or Devi Puja, for instance, in the Sri Yantra, in the center of the central triangle has 15 plus the center. These are the 15 Nitya Devis, right? Nitya Kala Devis, right? Each phase of the moon, and actually the moon follows a 16-day cycle, right? 15 plus 16. So from Amavasya, what are those? There's Pratima, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shasti, Saptami, Ashtami, Novami, Dasami, Ekadasi, Dwadashi, Triyodashi, Chaturdashi, and then you have Amavasya Purnima. These are the 15, but there's a 16th transcendent, that's the supreme, right? So each one of them is controlled or personified or connected with an aspect of the Devi. Right, so so you see each facet of the moon. When you see a moon go through its different phases, it's very different. We often say that between new moon and full moon, way different, but every day of the moon is different. From the first day, that you use it emotionally, romantically, by beauty, karmically, astrologically. It seems every day is different. You know, holidays are fixed to when the moon is on its 13th day of this particular month. That's when you fix a calendar date in Hindu calendar, right? So these things are very, very important, right? And so from full moon to new moon, there's 14, 15, or really 16 digits, right? And that is how that's how the Devi becomes fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller, right? And so the deities described are extremely beautiful, right? Each one more beautiful, more gorgeous and erotic and life-giving and life affirming and prosperity, you know, like until by the time you get to the full moon, she's at her most expansive, right? Like Lakshmi, and even what's her name? Sodashi, the goddess of the full moon. The god is Sodashi, 16, right? And it's also connected to the Indian ideal. Of course, this is not my field of research, but it says that actually a girl at 16 is at the prime of her life. I'm not going to doubt you're all at the prime of your life. We salute all of you. Every girl is at the prime of her life. But so you have for instance, so the Devi is worshipped at different ages. She's worshipped as a 5-year-old girl, right? As a 9-year-old girl, as an 8-year-old girl, as a 16-year-old girl. She's worshipped as a widow, right? Dumavati, all these different phases, right? You have Bala. Bala is given, I think 5 years old, right? So you can see when a 5-year-old girl comes here, you see they're little goddesses, right? They're a different type of manifestation, but not the full. They're the most important, is the most inspiring and the safest to worship, right? Maybe they're coming. The male Shiva equivalent is coming, right? But 16 is considered a full adult at the prime. This is the ancient. So there may be some cultural critique that can be done of this, but that's not my job. If you guys want to write papers for the classes, you can. You know, it'd be a very fascinating topic, but this is not. I'll happily grade the paper, but I won't write such a paper. The 16 is important. This is the phase of the moon and at everything at its most full. But then, what's the other 16? You go from full moon to new moon, right? There's another the Nitya Kalis, the Nitya Devis, which are worshipped in the Sri Yantra, and the Nitya Kalis around the triangle that are worshipped in the Kali Yantra, right? They're much scarier. Each one gets fiercer and scarier and angrier and darker and fiercer. You know, I already used fiercer. It gets fiercer yet, right? Because it is good, but it's not. There's no change. The moon hasn't changed. Our perspective has. We've seen a different aspect, or she's showing a different aspect. That's all, right? We've seen it different, and Can you close? That's getting cold. It's getting But the actually moon hasn't changed, right? So the Devi hasn't changed. All these different aspects are different, but the moon is the moon. So anyways, what are the 16 colors? I'll describe them in her mandala. First one is Amrita. So the moon is Amrita. This is Soma, Amrita, right? So nectar or mortality. Nectar, pride, creative, happiness, fullness, joy, contentment, glow, moonlight, brightness, sheen, grace, loving, offering, full, and unchanging fullness. That's the final thing. These are the 16 aspects of the moon. Very cool. Shriye Namah, Pritye Namah, Angadaye Namah, Puranaye Namah. These mantras that can be offered or together. So that's worship. So the moon, when the full moon is worship with all of her colors, right? That's life at its fullest. That's Devi at her fullest. That's Devi at her most giving, right? Or this is full Purna nectar, right? And so this water pot is full, right? The Devi is full, right? And in our body, the moon is, where is the moon? Of course, the moon is, where is the moon now? Over there somewhere, right? Right. And we have, of course, let's see, which one's the moon? This is sun and moon, right? The moon is here. In chakras, the moon is here. But it isn't the only. We have many suns, many fires, and many moons, right? To reflect each other in the body, in Tantra. We have another moon here, right? And we have a moon here. And we have all kinds of moons. But there's a moon in the forehead. And this is the moon that when we did our visualization and description of the Bhuta Shuddhi, when the serpent came up and came above, right, what happens? She comes up, the hood comes up. We have a visual aid. Always a very painfully and expensive and painful visual aid here. Yeah. Right, when it comes up and it comes up and like that, right? And it has fangs. What's those fangs do? The fangs bite the moon. There's very poetic tantric poetry of the bitten moon. Very interesting that the snake comes up and bites. And you see even, isn't there like old mythological imagery of the moon, of the snake swallowing the moon or biting the moon? There's that in Western esoteric symbolism too. There is a Leonard Cohen song, for instance. That's yeah, I'm sure he had a bitten moon for sure, right? But what happens when that image is there? When it bites the moon, then it unleashes. The full moon is full of nectar, right? Stealing the nectar. How do you think snakes are immortal in the mythology, right? They're immortal because of Amrita, right? When they come up and she takes that Amrita and it pulls it down, right? It comes in and pulls it, and when it pulls it back down, what happens? It sucks the Amrita, and as she comes down, she bathes all the chakras, the whole body was Amrita. Just like when you worship a Sri Yantra, you do all the thing to invoke the Amrita, and then you bathe the Sri Chakra. Right here, we can invoke all of it, and you can use this to bathe the deity. Right, that's the same thing. You said your bath, her bath, they're all identical. Right. Etaganda pushpe om soma mandalaya dasha sodasha kalatmane namaha. With this fragrant flower, we worship the 16 divisions of the moon. Right. Now, sun, moon, and fire is established. Very nice, right? It's the full thing, right? In our body, in the Conch, the deity, cosmos, everything is all done. But we're going to do all here. We're going to do it all in one place. Jayama, Chris is here. So then we offered, when we did the Koshkushi at the very beginning, the first day or second day of our puja class, when we established the water pot, which is also the yoni, just like this is the yoni, at the base, at the entrance of the yoni, we offered an arghya, a respectful offering. And the arghya, we discussed what arghya was last week also, this way, because we did internal arghya. But the external arghya is usually made, I described it as something similar to like a corsage, right? Something like that, something you present a bouquet and some respectful things when a guest comes, a VIP guest, a shawl and a thing and like this type of, or before your prom, you get the girl, of course, it's actually kind of an awkward looking thing or a bouquet for a wedding or something. But without it doesn't seem right. Or without a corsage, you didn't right. Or if at a wedding, in a Western wedding, without a bouquet, it seems, wait, you forgot the bouquet? That's like ridiculous, right? So something like that, right? It's a respectful thing that's required, right? So you make this arghya, because now we've invoked sun, moon, and fire, and the supreme goddess in the Conch. So you have to give a respectful offering, and so that offering is usually a flower with some leaves, some dubro, 3-leaf durva grass and bivla leaf, or tulsi, depends on who we're worshiping. Some rice, some sandalwood paste, red sandalwood paste, white sandalwood paste. All these holy things is done. You'll see there's one little white one there at the tip there. Now this is also offered in the ghat, in the Conch itself, right? And this is considered a very special, right? Now we're offering it here, and there'll be a point where we offer it externally to Ma. You'll see sometime we get up or I hand it to somebody during Big Puja, and somebody puts it on Ma's head, right? Or something, we get up and do it like that, right? If you're sitting close enough, then you'd offer that at Ma's head. And sometimes you make a new one, but sometimes our tradition is the one from the Conch itself is offered, right? So we offering the same arghya from the Conch is also because they're not different, right? They're constantly identifying the Conch, the ghat, the yantra, the body, koshkushi, the deity, everything again and again and again. There are connections being made again, right? So then, just like we haven't done this in a long time, but there's a series of mudras that are done to establish, when we establish the koshkushi, the same is being used to establish the Conch. And different mudras, the primary mudra that's used, in a certain sense, is Dhenu Mudra, right? This is the main one. Dhenu Mudra is used for liquidy things, right? Because it invokes Amrita, right? That's it's Kama Dhenu. This is, I won't get too much into, but Dhenu is Dhenu is a cow udder, right? It's a Kama Dhenu, the original divine cow, her udder, which is not just pouring our hopefully if we have well taken care of cows, they out of love they pour milk, right? But the divine cow, she's pouring Amrita, nectar, right? So this is the nectar. So this is the main one. It could just be on that, but we have a whole series of cool tantric secret mudras, right? Hand gestures, right? Pagan hand gestures. I saw online today. Pagan hand gestures. Excellent. Yes. So let's learn about pagan hand gestures, right? So first one is, I'll even describe them. There's Avaguntana Mudra, right? And we use the left hand. This is not a class on mudras, but just to demonstrate, because people see it, but not what we're doing. And we may have done I'm not sure if we've gone too far into it. This is just like you're pointing to somebody and you're like, no, you're doing this, right? You go from left to right. There's another thing where you do the other way, and they're doing different things. Now, the general understanding that this is almost like separating, like a force field, like you're cutting a little section, right? And that's how I've understood it. And but that's this one, not this one. I thought of it this way, but actually I was told by people who know more about pujas than I do, that actually this mudra means it's to reveal something. You're separate. You means this. You're not just protecting it or making a force field around it, a little magical force field. Although I love making little magical force fields. All into that. Right? It'd be cool if we could do that. Been trying to do that since I was 12. Get my sister out of my room, the whole thing. But it was very minimum success. But some success. I'm more powerful now, so I'm sure I could do it now. But what you're doing, this section that you're cutting up, you want it to reveal itself. It's a revealing mudra, right? You want this to reveal. What's it revealing? Of course, sun, moon, and fire, right? But what's moon and fire? These are aspects of the cosmic Shakti, right? And at the root of everything, we're seeing everything at its most external, most gross, most limited, most bewildering, most. We're seeing everything at least accurate. If we saw everything, we'd see it as God, right? So we're trying to see this as God. Everything, the deity we're trying to, it is a beautiful statue, but thinking of a beautiful statue has not much spiritual value. It's better than thinking something horrible, but it's not that spiritual, right? You can think of something, you can think of many things, but if you think of God, if you see it as God, see her as God, we should see everything as God, but we'll start with in a ritual way. A ritual is a way of consciously, through a series of well-established, revealed acts to bring out its godness, right? And the question is, does something happen to the water in the conch by doing this? Is it one thing? Oh, it's already God, and we see it as God, or is it already God and now it shows itself as God? Right. We'll go into that. We'll see next week. Maybe this week. It's only 6:07. I'm doing pretty good. Hung, right? So that's the first one. And then there's different books and different traditions will do different things. I'm just showing what we do because originally this whole series, somebody asked, we watch puja every Amavasya online, and I know what you're doing. It'd be nice if I knew what you were doing, right? So this is just describing kind of what we're doing, that's all. I'm showing our way, right? And then there's another mudra, chakra mudra. And there's different forms. Chakra mudra is Vishnu's chakra. And so there's two forms of it. One is, this is a nice chakra, right? That means that, you can imagine the spinning. Or this is also something spinning. This is another chakra, form of chakra mudra. Some books, the Ramakrishna book uses this, right? The Gaudiya Vaishnava Tantras describe this. So I like both of them. And there's two mantras that are used, and so I use both of them. There's one mantra for this and one mantra for this, right? Just cover all bases. What if one of them's right and one of them's wrong and the whole thing doesn't work? And this is why none of your prayers are being answered. All right. So the mantra is Yam and Ram. So these are bij mantras these are elemental. Anybody's car beeping?
I think it's mine.
Okay, maybe sometime if you we can pocket panic button. So what's Yam and Ram? Yam and Ram. Yam is the beat mantra. Anybody know?
For what?
Yam. Air. Right? And Yam, that means here, try to check it. And Ram is the beat mantra for what element? Ram. Fire. So air and fire. So if you want to purify something, right, a good way of purifying things, the Tantra uses lots of ideas of burning stuff to purify, right? We use that, purified by fire. Even we've been tested by fire, purified by fire, right? So before you burn something, you need to dry something, right? And of course, it's weird because we're trying to burn and dry and burn a conch full of water, but it's not water, right? We're trying to dry and burn the impurities, right? Now, there could be impurities in the water that aren't water. That's one thing that can filter it. Or there could be impurities in the water that are the water is nectar. That nectar is not always completely pure, right? Or it could be the mind that's being being purified, all simultaneously, right? So by Yam, you're actually drying any impurities, and Ram, you're burning any impurities, right? We did this when we did the Bhuta Shuddhi, right? Where you inhale with a certain mantra was Yam to burn, to dry the subtle body and astral body, and the Papa Purusha, and then with Ram, you burn him. Burn it and burn him, right? That this is a year ago's talk, I think. Yam, so Hung, the first mantra is Hum, to the burning, fiery, protective mantra we talked about. Korcha Bija Hum, Yam, Ram, right? And then if you've dried and burnt, now you have a bunch of ash, right? You need to filter it, right? Then there's different, so this is one form of Galini Mudra, it's called, I think, Galini Mudra, filter Mudra, or it can also be done, I think like this, they also do Galini Mudra, pretty sure. I think in the Ramakrishna Mission book, it gives it like this, right? Just like a net, like a sieve, or like there's another, like a sheath or thieves, like this, right? And we use the mantra of Vashat, right? And then there's all kinds of things that need to be purified. There's also, you can, of course, we've all, our parents have done this, our teachers have done this, our significant others may have done it. They can give you a look. And it's like one look and something can be destroyed, Mother looks at, she can destroy universe with an angry look. Right, the goddess like this, right. So we can also destroy subtly with our angry look, right. We have to be careful. Actually, we're very conscious in Hinduism. We're especially very conscious of people's angry looks. We call it drishti, right, the evil eye, right. Not to like people look, and even especially during, like a small child, they put a black dot to absorb any. People even go, oh, cute little dot. But even that somebody come in, oh, what a cute little baby. Kind of weird. Somebody looking like your baby that way. Even that can have a weird shakti to it, So it's done to absorb it and you wipe it off at the end of the day, right? There's all kinds of people wear talismans. It takes the drishti, right? There's people, they people put on limes above their door. These things can absorb some of these things, these type of things, right? So this is we're giving the drishti, but to anything inauspicious. So we give a fierce. It describes it as a fierce look, right? And we put the in Bhairava Mudra. There's two. We talked about this already. Bhairava and Bhairavi Mudra. Bhairava Mudra, and we look and we give a angry look. In case I have my back to you, but I'm giving a really angry look. Vaushut, to any impurities. Then this Dhenu Mudra that purifies, that turns into nectar, right? With the mantra Vam. Vam is the water beach mantra, right? Connected to the moon, connected to nectar, connected to the water. Naturally, that's turning everything to nectar, right? Interesting. Mudras have. This is not a class on mudras, but I'll give a few brief description. Mudras do many, many different things. They're symbolic acts, right? They're you can see some things. Some mudras are more symbolic than anything. There's some things like that, right?
Communication.
Yeah, and we use our hands, right, to express. That's another thing. They express emotions and feelings. We do this when we're angry. We do other things when we're really angry, with fingers, and that people. It's an expression of some feeling. So similarly, in this case, one of the ways to understand this, it's symbolic of. It looks like a cow udder, so it's symbolic, right? But it's intentional, right? If I'm angry, if I'm scared and I do this, that's scared mudra, right? But what if so? It's like I'm scared, or I'm angry, right? But like, what about turn to nectar? That's an intention. Turn to nectar, right? What does that look like? We weren't taught as a kid in high school, junior high school, what hand gesture means. Turn to nectar, right? Like we don't know that gesture. We don't know even the emotion. We don't know what that means. It's just these weird words that yogis talk about, right? But we do know what it means. We do know what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Turn to nectar, right? And so. Maybe you've done this in school in psychology class in high school or something like that. I remember where like clench your hands like this and have the whole class and like that. And pretty soon people start getting stressed, start getting irritable, and start getting angry because this is the mudra. This is the shape of anger. Anger, when it flares up, takes that shape, right? But you can create a vessel, and then and consciousness takes the shape of its vessel. Right, so your emotions take that, you become angry, or it's like if you smile, right? Even if you're in a bad mood, your mood changes, but because the shape is wrong. The endorphins are different, and so similarly. So this is the one way of looking at mudras, is that a way of expressing, emotion. So we don't know what it means yet, but if we know what it looks like, we can slowly know what it means. Our consciousness will take our energies and pranas will take it. Another aspect of mudras, given that taught to us by Radhikananda Saraswati, they're steering wheels of prana. I like this definition very well. And there's many tests, I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to get distracted. But when we did the class at UCI on yoga, subtle anatomy and yoga, right? There's a class full of yoga teachers, very interesting. I said, okay, everybody just do this and breathe. Okay, now everybody do this and breathe. And one of them, people breathe. Whole class breathed into their chest. The second one, the whole class breathed into their diaphragm. Right? All they did is between this and this. Right? It's like so these change the way prana moves in the body. Right? And these are dramatic things. Right? Take a abdominal breath or a upper chest breath. I don't know what these are called. Right? But this has an effect. 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 All these different mudras we use in meditation change prana, right? There's mudras for the elements. There's mudras for the chakras. So this is a very complicated thing, right? You start switching. I always think of it. Imagine like a switchboard operator in the old days. You take this wire, and get them all, and you switch them. All of a sudden, a whole other world opens up, and you get through. So this is there's all kinds of complicated mudras. Like one of their purposes is not just symbolic, not just expressive, but also it changes the flow of pranas. Right? It's a steering wheel of prana. So this is a very elaborate one, but it's bum. And then we do the Yoni Mudra, was Hrim, the Bij Mantra, one of the primary Shakti Bij Mantras. And also this Yoni Mudra is identical to this Yoni, and it's a way of invoking the Shakti, the internal Shakti of the goddess, right? And then this water, it's all great, but now we're invoking the Ganga and the other holy rivers, right? And we've talked about this a long time ago, and we began these classes. The Ganga, actually 7 auspicious rivers are invoked. Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri, and I get this one? Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, and Kaveri. I'm not good at counting with my fingers. These 7 rivers. Now, there's many holy rivers in India, and in elaborate pujas, a lot of other holy rivers are mentioned. Right, but these are the main arteries of India, the main holy rivers, right? They also exist in our body as the different channels, flows of energy, like Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, or Ida, Pingala, Shushumna. These are simple, right? And the other ones are also been recognized. I have to think about it a little bit and look at my notes. Like I don't think about it all the time. We say this all the time, right? We say Om Krong, so we start Om Krong, Gange Cha Yamune Chaiva. Ganga, Gange, O Ganga, Gange may come, Gange Cha, and Yamuna, Chaiva, Cha Aiva, and also, and then it's just got a list. It's like a comma, 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 and at the end. We're putting and at the beginning, and a bunch of commas, or not commas, semicolons, I guess, when you list something. These are semicolon. Ganga and Yamuna, and also Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, and Kaveri. May all these 7 holy rivers, mentioned by name, Jalesmin, may the waters from these holy rivers, Sannidhim Kuru, be present here. You're invoking the holy rivers, right? And I don't want to give this, because it's been a long time since we've given this topic, but we have probably an hour lecture on this already. But these are flows in the body, and we visualize when we're doing this, we use this mudra. It's called Ankusha Mudra, right? It has different meanings in Western culture, but in Indian culture, it is Ankush Mudra. Ankush Mudra is, what's an Ankush? Goat, an elephant goat. So when you see a giant elephant being controlled by a mahut, right? They usually have this hooky thingy. And they kind of tug a little bit here, and they tug a little, and they can direct. A huge animal can pick up, a coin, right? By the directions of somebody with a hook, by training, obviously, So what's this big? And so a big elephant is just like in Ganesha symbolism. The big elephant is the mind, right? So Ankush controls an elephant. Ankush controls the mind. So actually, interesting. When we do this, what are we controlling? The Ankush. We're not really controlling the goddesses of the 7 rivers, right? We're controlling the mind to see properly, because all water is that. The great line of Nimkala Baba. All rivers are Ganga. All trees are desire trees, right? We don't see things. We don't see anything purely. We saw, so we have to see properly. But still, there's an intention and an actual action. We visualize these coming from the solar region, right? Through the disk of the sun, from the astral heavenly worlds. Because these rivers, as per the stories, they're not just flows of water, they're flows of energy. They're not just flows of energy, they're flows of the goddess energy. These are goddesses that exist in the heavenly realms. Ganga comes from Indralok, from heavens, from Swarga, right? And they come down, right? They make a long journey, right, through the solar region. So through the disk of the sun, the dusk. This is a very mythological way of looking at things, but the disk of the sun is a window through which the upper worlds we look through. We go through the disk of the sun. Ishopanishad describes to go through the disk of the sun to the other world, to the other. So these divine goddesses, they come down and they flow, as per the scripture, they come down and flow into Ganga fell on the Jata of Shiva. We know all the stories of how the different goddesses came down. Yamuna is the sister of Yamaraj. There's a whole story for him. Narmada is from the sweat of Lord Shiva. There's a story of how she comes. Each of these the rivers has a story, right? But so we ritually recreate the mythology of how they came down, right? We put our mind to understand what's really there, or we actually call them down, right? And all three are true, right? Because water before this and water after this is different. It's treated differently, is different, right? There's something, that's one of the principles of pranapata that we'll get to next week, God willing. Om Krong Gange Cha Jamuni Cha Vigravari Saraswati Narmadi Sindhu Kaveri Jalismin Sarihinkuru. May the holy waters of the sacred rivers Ganga, Yamuna, Chaiva, Chaiva is not a river, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, and Kaveri be present here, right? And they come, so we direct them. We're directing them through the sun, just like they came down in ancient times to Lord by the prayers of King Bhagarat to save his sons, right? And by the acceptance of Lord Shiva, or these different like that, they'll come down again for our purpose, right? We have some work to do, and we need their presence. So if you have Ganga water, because then you already started. We have Ganga water. We start with Ganga water, right? But a drop of Ganga, we believe Ganga water is always pure. Gangavari Brahmavari, Thakur said it. Ganga is itself Brahman. Ganga is liquid Brahman, Thakur said. Brahman in liquid form is called Ganga, right? Or mother's milk, Inkweli Baba says, the divine mother's milk, right? But still, even a Ganga, we have faith like that and maybe experience like that, but we need the full thing. So this mantra is there. And then we charge, we've gone through these already, we charge the water with mantra, with the bij mantra of the deity being worshipped. Here is kring. So we kring, 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 8 times. Over solids, we do this 10 times. Over liquids, we do it 8 times. This is a topic, reasons I don't have to give right now. And then called Mafia Mudra, which looks like Matsya means fish, right? And usually we think, this covers it, right? Because you can see this kind of covers like that. But actually, there's a deeper meaning as per Tantra Shastra. Just like when we've established this as an ocean of nectar, right? And so the soul swims in the ocean of Satchitananda like a fish. Thakur described Brahman like that. Yeah? So this is another thing. Sometimes you'll see, let's do this, right? But you see, I've seen some Sri Vidya people, they're very, they're like, they do the whole thing, their mudras are bewildering, they take bewildering, but so that's the idea of swimming through this ocean of nectar, right? So that's pretty good, I think. Pretty good, huh? So we've invoked Ganga, sun, moon, and fire. Ganga and the other, you've purified it, you've burned it, you filtered it, you've established you've invoked the 11, not 11 rivers, the 7 rivers. You've charged it with a bij mantra, and you've covered it or swam in the nectar of the whole thing, right? So that's pretty good, but not finished yet. There's more, right? Then we offer another flower. Ittaganda pushpe tirtebhyo namaha. Tirtebhyo means all tirtas. We just established Ganga and the other rivers. We've established the tirtas. These are the main tirtas, right? So we worship all tirtas, all holy places. Not only all rivers, every holy place is worshipped. Right, all the holy rivers, all the holy places are there, right? And then we show a series called Avahana Mudras, Avahanayat Pancha Mudra, the 5 mudras of invocation, right? And so maybe you've seen, we do it on the fire too. We do this. You see us doing these series of mudras, right? Each action has a meaning, a pranic meaning. Also, a pranic, it is a steering wheel of prana. It's symbolic, but it's also just like, please come and sit. We do like, please come. We use these types of things, right? These are respectful versions. If you do this to somebody, it's insulting, right? Yeah. And with appropriate mantras, iha gacha means come. Agacha, come. I invoke you. Right? Where are we invoking her? Of course, we're invoking her here. She's already here, or we're calling her here, both. But we're using this as the medium to invoke her presence here in general. Here specifically, but not specifically. It's done here in general. Iha gacha, right? Come. Iha tishta. Come and stay, sit. Right? Come and sit down. If a guest comes, you say, please come and take your seat. Right? Not just come and stand there. right? You have to. This is a guest, not a special. This is a queen. This is only not just a guest. This is the queen. This is your mother or your boss or the queen of countless trillions of universes, right? You know, iha gacha, iha tishta, ani. I always miss this one. Iha sanhi dehi. Iha, that means be close, be close. Come, sit, and stay close to me. What an intimate thing, right? And that mudra is like this, right? It has, each mudra has a name. This is the Avahani Mudra, Samstapani Mudra, Sanhi Padini Mudra, and this is the Nirodhini Mudra. Iha Sanhi Rudrasya, Iha Sandrasya means stay, stay. Come, sit close to me, be close to me, and stay here. Stay here while we're worshiping you. Don't go anywhere. This is very interesting. Think about it. It's actually it's a ritual thing, but so intimate, right? I got 2 minutes. Right? And then San Mukhi Karani Mudra. Then this is like that, and then it's like this, right? Means face us, face me. So come, sit, be close, stay, and face us, right? We want face to face. This is not abstract, right? This is in general. This is face to face. Now it's interesting because, of course, the very nature they say come, they look like, even if you don't know what the meaning is, they look like you're invoking something. It's very, like in the Catholic Church at a certain point where the priest they all do this, and you even if you don't know the secret of the mass, you can kind of see it makes sense, right? So this part also makes sense. But many years ago, when Swami Shivananda Saraswati's from Rishikesh, it was his birthday, right? And we have a great love for Swami Shivananda, and we had a little more time than we do now. So we decided to do a special homa for Swami Shivananda's birthday, right? And we're doing it where you're sitting, back there. And one devotee, who's also a great devotee of Swami, he's from the Shivananda tradition, but he didn't know it was Shivananda's birthday. He just came out of the blue that day. Perfect. I think Lord Shivananda invited him, right? And so it was, oh, good, come. And he saw, and he doesn't know the rituals of puja at that time. Now he knows more. But when we did this, later he told me, Swamiji, I felt Swami Shivananda enter the room and sit near us. I felt his presence, right? He says, and he was saying, oh, that's I'm very inspired. Good. I'm glad. When you're doing that thing with your hands, right? When we're saying come, sit, it's like he came and sat and stank, it's like she felt it. He felt it happen, right? So it's not just symbolic. It's symbolic. It's energetic, but it's also prayerful. Ma, please, this is the most intimate thing. We're inviting you. We've done all this to invite you to sit down. So let us worship you properly. And then Paramakirana Mudra. We do like this. This is mudra that means establish yourself here. Like be fixed here, right? Atra dishtanam kuru mama pujam grahana. Establish yourself here and accept our puja, right? Stay here, be fixed here, right? And let us worship you now. Very intimate, right? Then mudra again. Om Hrim Amrita Kuru Swaha. May all this become Amrita, nectar, right? Iha Parami Kuru. Again, Iha Parami Kuru means may this be supreme. May the supreme be here. Not only be fixed, but be the supreme. So that's the gist of installing the ghat. Not the ghat, the water conch, right? Then there's a little thing that this water, because it's not just, when we're invoking her, it's not just into the conscience, to the presence, into our heart, into our life, to our mind, into our environment, to our temple, to our image, to our yantra, right? So then this water is considered complete, non-different. The conch, sun, moon, and fire, the body, the universe, the goddess, the presence, the river, everything is here, right? So we want this not just to be here, we want it to be here, right? So then one thing we can do, now she's here, on Amavasya, we do a 5-item worship we do a full puja to this. Now she's here. Usually we don't see it, you see, it's like we're quickly done. Etaganda pushpe, etaganda, kringadika, different mantras are done like that. But then this water is then sprinkled on everything. Maybe you think we turn around sometime and sprinkle everybody if maybe it doesn't get to everybody, it's the presence, the Shakti is sprinkled everywhere. Right, but we see sprinkled everywhere because then Om Krim Amritam Kuru Swaha. May all this become Amrita. May all this become Amrita. Everything becomes nectar. Right? So not we sprinkle it on the shrine, we sprinkle it on Ma, we sprinkle it on whoever's around us, on our own head. Everything becomes not nectar. Right? And then again, the Dhenu Mudra, may all this become nectar. Om Krim Amritam Kuru Swaha. That is the establishment of the Conch. So this is from the internal worship to the invocation of the Conch. Next step, we'll talk next week, is now what do you do to install her in the image, right? We do a nyasa. We did nyasa on our body, we do nyasa on her body, right? And then a way of invoking that prana. So a whole secret cool thing to invoke her, and which we'll talk next week, God willing. Thank you for your kind attention. I'm 3 minutes late. Any comments, questions? You have 2 minutes. Don't hang up yet. Sorry. Did it get recorded? Or? Okay. Any questions or comments? No is better. It's way better. Well, okay. What?
No, I said, I'm sorry, I don't have any.
Oh, okay. You're really good for a question.
I'm apologizing for not having a question.
Okay, thank you very much.